Good afternoon. We're at Seshego, where the members of the Department of Transport, SANDF and traffic officials are manning a roadblock. We must indicate that earlier on we saw the Premier of the province, Stan Mathabatha, talking about the first case that was reported here in the province, and later on he went with the Deputy Minister of Transport, Dikeledi Magadze, for the donation of PPEs to that department, which will obviously assist the taxi industry. And with me here is the Premier of the province, Stan Mathabatha, just to give us a brief of what has been happening in the province with regard to this roadblock, Premier. And also, we have seen you crisscrossing the province. We saw you at Lipalale, you were at Libuaho, Musiliteng, and all. How does the picture of the province look in terms of compliance?
Well, I think initially it started very slow. People were not really complying. If you noticed the first time when we went to, I think it was Mutse, the area of Mutse, Elias Mutsalit. Compliance was very poor and bad that time. But I can assure you that since then, since that pushback strategy that we developed as a province, compliance is improving radically. Most of our people are now complying. We actually only visiting hotspots now, where our systems are telling us that we're still having problems. That's the problems, the places that where we are visiting now. But generally, I think compliance is satisfactory now.
One thing that happened this morning, Premier, is that you met with political parties. What came out of that meeting? Because you were very hard to say people must not politicize COVID-19. It's a fight for all of us.
For a change, I think that was a breath of fresh air, because you listen to all those political parties. You could not hear any dogfights or any petty political bargaining in that meeting. All of them were at one. We were at one, saying that we've got one enemy. There can't be anything that is more important, that makes us to differ, that is more important than life. Here, as political parties, all of us, we are here because we value life. We are here because we've got one common enemy, which is threatening life. And all of them were saying that. As a result, I think we had a very productive meeting, and all these political parties came with suggestions as to how do they think we can enhance this battle against the COVID-19. And I think we are going to make use of those inputs, and we'll win the battle. Together we'll win the battle.
Premier of the province, Stan Mathabatha, indicating that the political parties were all speaking in one voice to say they must fight this COVID. And I indicated earlier on that the Deputy Minister of Transport, Dikeledi Magadze, is here with us. Mama, I see you are part of the officials who are manning this roadblock. Surely you have found transgressors for now, and the donation of PPEs to the department, how far will it go in assisting flattening the curve?
The donation of the PPEs is part of the contribution that we are making, particularly to the taxi industry, because on a daily basis there's a lot of people who goes into the taxis, and therefore the taxis need to be sanitized, and the people who goes into the taxi must also be sanitized. And we are happy because the sponsorship that we got from AMSCO will go a long way to add on to what we are having, what we have contributed as a department. But being part of this roadblock, there is an indication that there are several people who have been arrested. One of them was having cases of beer, indicating that he's from a particular shop in town and going home. So it's good because he will go and rest in disobeying the regulations. You will go and have just a little bit of rest behind bars. So we are happy because we are insisting on making sure that people obey the rules and the regulations. And I would want to add on to what the Premier has said, that in Limpopo, at least you can see, this time you don't even see not a single taxi moving up and down. And even the people who are in the cars, they are the people who actually, you'll find 2 people in every car, 2 people in every car. So we need to commend the people of Limpopo to continue doing the same thing, obeying the rules, obeying the regulations, so that we can be able to fight this invisible enemy.
And Deputy Minister, just before I let you go, briefly, you spoke about Limpopo, people complying, but what is the general picture countrywide?
There are in some areas where people, the Western Cape is one example where people disobeys the regulations. There are other areas where people, when they go to the shops in particular to go and buy the necessities, they don't obey the social distancing and the social distance be amongst them and between them. And these are the things that we are saying. We can win when we obey the social distance, when we sanitize our hands, when we make sure that, particularly in transport, there's that distance that you will always be having within the passenger, the driver. And I am happy because I thought that I was going to find taxis here so that I can be able to do inspection in taxis. I must commend the taxi industry in Limpopo and in particular in Seshego and Polokwane that they are obeying the regulations.
That was the Deputy Minister of Transport, Dikeledi Magadze, indicating that she's happy with the picture that she's seeing here in Limpopo, which is contrary to what she encounters in other regions, in other provinces, because compliance is not always the case. They are still here at the roadblock. We'll be checking as to how many people will be arrested by the end of business today. For now, it's back to you.